Niki Ashton, one of the most anti-Israel politicians in all of the House of Commons. She's an NDP MP, and she's a firm believer in the fact that socialism is usually for the people and not the socialist, and she's the socialist in all of this. You might remember her from past travel scandals, such as when she went to Greece twice during the pandemic, or at least the government overreaction to the pandemic. She was one of the strongest lockdown and restriction proponents in the House of Commons. But she traveled to Greece twice during the times when they were telling everybody to stay home, close their business, cancel Christmas, and leave your grandparents to languish in an old folks' home, lonely and in despair. She went to Greece twice because her grandma was ailing. And so her grandma, she gets to have a nice visit, and she gets to travel to Greece to visit her grandma. But your grandma, she had to be warehoused away in a nursing home, never to be seen again. So she did that. She's a hypocrite, as so many of the NDP tend to be. But this latest thing is just, it's something else. So Niki Ashton, who rarely goes to the House of Commons, and I don't blame her for this, because we have said that everything can be done remotely now, school, House of Commons, whatever. So she took advantage of that. She rarely goes to the House of Commons. Her riding is in far-flung northern Manitoba. It's an impoverished riding, by the way. I think the average household income, so combined two people working household income, under $60,000. She decided that after not going to work, not finding a way to make it to Ottawa for the majority of the fall session in 2022, wherein she was only in Ottawa for 1 week, so 4 days, the House of Commons breaks on, I think it was the 15th or 16th of December for Christmas. Then Niki Ashton says, oh, wouldn't you know it, I've got House of Commons business to do in Ottawa over the Christmas break. Except it wasn't House of Commons business. She took a family vacation and then charged it all back to the taxpayer. So, and there's no reason for her to be there, like literally none. And this is the Christmas break. Let's go through CBC's article here. It's pretty good. I have my suspicions about who tipped CBC off to this, by the way. I think it came internally from the NDP, because she's seen as a leadership challenger for Jagmeet Singh, who is, I think, starting to annoy some party members. Anyway, on December 21st of that year, Ashton flew from Thompson, Manitoba to Ottawa 5 days after the House of Commons had already risen for Christmas break. Ashton's partner, Bruce Monker, a former NDP nomination candidate, and their 2 children also made the trip with the MP to the nation's capital. So now we're on a family vacation, don't you see? Then on Christmas Day, the family of 4 traveled to Quebec City. Ashton built, oh, this is nice. She didn't ding us for all of it, just some of it in this case. Ashton billed the Commons for some of the expenses they incurred along the way. Social media, this is beautiful. She didn't even try to hide it. Social media posts show Monker and the children took in some of Quebec City's winter attractions, including an ice slide and snow tubing at Valcartier outside the city center. Ashton is also seen in those posts skating with her children and visiting the city's German Christmas market. In an Instagram post, Ashton thanks progressive activists for sharing their inspiring work. The trip cost taxpayers nearly $18,000. An $18,000 family vacation, and this champagne socialist had the gall to ding Canadian taxpayers who are being crushed under the Liberal NDP inflationary policies and increased taxes. They had to pay for this. There are people who can't even imagine a $17,000 family vacation over Christmas. And this champagne socialist who says she's fighting for the little guy, she sticks them with the bill. Now, also, if you pay attention to any sort of politics, you know the NDP cannot shut up about the large grocers in this country whom they accuse of price gouging. Look, I'm not one to defend the Weston family who own Loblaws, but the NDP are so wrong on this issue that I'm defending Galen Weston. Yes, I'm defending Galen Weston because yes, Loblaw is making a lot of money these days. How are they making money? Well, they're doing it on their lower, like their house brand product. So like the yellow label that they have at Loblaws, the no name brand stuff. That's where people are spending their money. So Loblaw wisely paying attention to the way the winds are blowing in Canada. People don't have any money. Inflation is killing them. They want a good deal on food. So Loblaw pivots, puts a lot of energy into their no-name brand. And people go to Loblaw to buy the no-name brand. So of course, Loblaw, being good capitalists, are making money on this and paying attention to what the market wants. This isn't good. This isn't good enough for the NDP. So they won't shut up about the large grocers. However, Niki Ashton, let me tell you, she was not eating no-name food on this trip because she billed 1,500, I should correct myself, $1,500 for meals and other incidentals on this trip, this family trip. So we paid for her kids to eat. Now, Niki Ashton didn't ever think for a second that she would have to justify this spending because she said that she went to Quebec City to discuss language priorities and to, quote, find out things she needs to prioritize. Just things. I'm just there thinking on the priorities. And she also met with a union person. Who that union person is, it's a mystery. Then for Christmas Eve, they traveled to Montreal for meetings with stakeholders. Sorry, the day before New Year's Eve. They traveled to Montreal for meetings with stakeholders. And again, they were engaging with people about linguistic issues. I can't even imagine thinking that I could get away with expenses like that. I'll have you know, I'm very light on the expenses here at Rebel News. Why? Because I always think the people who donate to Rebel News, our subscribers, if I showed them my expenses, how would they feel about this? Right? I always think that way. I always think like, look, if someone who gave us $50 this year said, Sheila, I want to see your expenses for March, I would have no problem showing them. No problem whatsoever. Niki Ashton doesn't think that way. She doesn't feel the same way about you. But guys, this is not the first time she pulled this stuff, dinging us for her family vacations. Where was the other one? Sorry, May 2023. $10,000 on a family trip to Windsor. What's she doing in Windsor? Her riding is in northern Manitoba. She should only be going from northern Manitoba down to Ottawa and back, but she can't go to Ottawa. That's too much like work. She can't manage to get out of her riding to go to Ottawa, but she could get out of her riding to go to Windsor. $10,000. It was a 6-day trip to Windsor when she also wasn't going to work. She was in Ottawa fewer than 30 days for the first 6 months of 2023 when she should have been working. She went to Windsor. And the reason Windsor is significant is because that's where Moncur, her husband, common law, whatever, they just call her a partner, or him a partner. So I'm not even, who puts a label on things these days? Anyway, they went to Windsor where he grew up, went to school and university. They went to visit his family in Windsor. And we had to pay for it. Just the gall of this woman. And while she was there, she crossed the border to talk to Detroit Democrat politician of Squad fame, Rashida Tlaib. So, and her excuse there was, I went to talk about soccer opportunities for the kids in Thompson, Manitoba. Just ridiculous. Now, we know that Jagmeet Singh isn't going to hold her to account. He's just as bad as her at this. And I mean, how can Justin Trudeau hold her to account, right? Because Justin Trudeau charges us for his family vacations all the time. So I'm going to give you an opportunity for you to have your say. I've got a petition, and you can share the petition because it details all her spending scandals and how she's a big fat hypocrite all the time. You can find it at paythemoneyback.com. No, sorry, pay it back. I don't even know my own URL. Good grief, what a day. It's payitback.com. If you're looking for news on Niki Ashton, it's Nikki with 1K. Why? She hasn't found a way to charge the taxpayer for the other one yet. So payitback.com. You can sign the petition, share it around. Make sure everybody knows just how much of a expense account abuser this NDPer is. The NDP used to say they're in it for the little guy. They were anti-poverty activists. While you are struggling to pay over 50% of your income in taxes this year, just remember that Niki Ashton, who makes $200,000 a year plus, stuck you with her family vacations twice that we know of. Will there be an audit? Probably not. There should be an audit, but twice now you paid for her family vacation